The links between comets and the rapture. Every time there is a comet, there seems to be some kind of a rapture mania that starts. So let's see what research says about any possible links between comets and the rapture. The links between comets and the rapture explore the intersection of celestial phenomena and eschatological beliefs, particularly within the context of Christian theology. Throughout history, comets have been perceived as ominous signs or divine warnings, often interpreted as indicators of impending catastrophic events or transformative moments in human history. The notable association of comets with calamity and divine judgment has persisted from ancient times through the Middle Ages and into modern interpretations of prophecy, making them significant symbols in the study of end times narratives. Historically, comets have been viewed as harbingers of disaster, often cited in scriptural context as precursors to divine retribution or societal upheaval. Influential church figures, including Origen and Eusebius, contributed to the belief that comet sightings could herald significant eschatological events, including the anticipated rapture, an event where believers are said to be taken up to meet Christ. This theological interpretation of comets aligns with various interpretive frameworks, such as historicism and futurism, that seek to understand cosmic signs within a prophetic framework, reinforcing their perceived role in signaling the end of times. The cultural impact of comets extends beyond Christianity. Different religious traditions have recognized them as symbols of divine intervention or transformation. For instance, in Islamic belief, meteoric events, including comets, are seen as manifestations of God's will, while in Buddhism, celestial occurrences are associated with cycles of renewal and change. Such interpretations highlight the broader significance of comets across various belief systems, reflecting humanity's enduring fascination with the heavens and their potential implications for earthly events. Notable comets such as Hale-Bopp and Halley's Comet have sparked intense public interest and anxiety, often intertwined with apocalyptic narratives. The tragic mass suicide of the Heaven's Gate cult in 1997, driven by their belief that Hale-Bopp signified an impending rapture, underscores the extreme interpretations that these celestial events can evoke. Thus, the links between comets and the rapture continue to resonate within contemporary discussions of prophecy and divine signs, illustrating the complex interplay between scientific understanding and cultural beliefs surrounding these enigmatic celestial bodies. Let's look at it from a historical context, because that's the only thing that we can look at it from. The interpretation of celestial phenomena, particularly comets, has been intertwined with human history and events of significant change, often viewed through the lens of divine omens. Medieval scholars, for instance, not only feared diseases like the plague, but also sought to trace its origins, linking such occurrences to a divine plan. They recorded these events meticulously, suggesting a belief that historical events were manifestations of a greater cosmic order. The association of comets with calamity dates back centuries, as illustrated in historical texts like the Nuremberg Chronicle published in 1493. This document depicted comets as harbingers of disaster, stating that a hairy star, or comet, signified calamity, reflecting the prevalent belief that such celestial bodies were ominous signs for humanity. The imagery used in the chronicle highlights how comets were perceived as indicators of impending doom, and this sentiment has persisted through the ages, influencing how people viewed significant historical transformations. In Christian eschatology, the study of last things often encompasses the belief in prophetic signs and omens that signal the end times, where events might culminate in a cataclysmic finale. This belief system has evolved through various interpretive frameworks, including historicism, which ties biblical prophecies to specific historical events, and futurism, which anticipates future fulfillments of prophecy amidst global chaos. The prophetic writings of early church figures like Eusebius also underscore the importance of interpreting celestial signs in the context of divine judgment and covenantal transition. His account suggested that events surrounding the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70 were not only historical, but also steeped in eschatological significance, reinforcing the idea that such occurrences are linked to broader divine plans. In this historical context, comets and other celestial phenomena have served not merely as astronomical curiosities, but as profound symbols in the collective human understanding of divine intervention and the unfolding of prophetic narratives throughout history. Now let's look at it from a scientific perspective, and let's see what science has to say about comets. The study of comets has evolved significantly from ancient beliefs to modern scientific understanding. Initially, comets were viewed as atmospheric phenomena influenced by Aristotle's philosophy in the 4th century BC, which regarded them as windy exhalations from Earth. This perspective persisted for over 2 millennia, associating comet appearances with ominous earthly events, such as the passage of Halley's Comet in 1066, which was interpreted as a harbinger of the Norman conquest of England. A pivotal moment in cometary studies occurred during the Renaissance, particularly with Tycho Brahe's observations of the Great Comet of 1577, which demonstrated that comets resided far beyond the Moon, challenging the Aristotelian view and marking their celestial nature. The motion of comets has been a subject of intrigue and debate in the field of astronomy. Johann Kepler's work in the 18th–17th century established that celestial bodies moved in elliptical orbits, but it took Edmund Halley's analysis in 1705 to connect historical comet sightings such as recurring events. Halley determined that the comets of 1531, 1607 and 1682 were in fact the same comet, returning every 76 years, a revelation that allowed him to predict its return in 1758. By the 20th century, comets were classified as periodic, with elliptical orbits, or non-periodic, with parabolic or hyperbolic trajectories, suggesting many non-periodic comets could eventually be considered permanent members of the solar system, particularly those originating from the hypothesized Oort cloud. Comets are composed primarily of ice, dust, and rocky materials, forming small icy bodies that can range from hundreds of meters to dozens of kilometers in size. These celestial objects are remnants from the early solar system and exhibit distinctive tails when they approach the Sun. As their nuclei heat up, sublimation occurs, producing a visible tail that can extend across vast distances visible from Earth. Observations of comets like Hale-Bopp have revealed two primary types of tails, a blue gas or plasma tail and a yellow dust tail, each resulting from different physical processes associated with solar radiation. The origins of comets have also been a focus of study, with the Oort cloud being proposed as a reservoir for long-period comets, enveloping the solar system at distances up to 1.6 light-years. Additionally, the Kuiper belt is believed to house medium-period comets containing billions of icy and rocky bodies that serve as their nuclei. This understanding has clarified the physical characteristics and behaviors of comets, transforming them from omens of disaster into subjects of scientific inquiry and exploration. The connection between comets and eschatological themes, including concepts of the rapture, has been deeply embedded in various cultural and religious narratives throughout history. Comets have often been viewed as omens or harbingers of significant events, particularly within the context of religious beliefs. In Christian tradition, comets have been interpreted as signs of divine wrath and warnings of impending judgment. Early church fathers such as Origen held that comets indicated catastrophic events, including the downfall of empires and the end of the world as foretold in scriptural prophecies. Reformers like Zwingli and Melanchthon perpetuated these views, associating comets with calamities and divine retribution, framing them as indicators of a forthcoming eschatological reckoning. This belief was not merely a historical footnote, it has influenced contemporary Christian eschatology, particularly among groups that emphasize prophetic interpretations of the Book of Revelation. These interpretations often resonate with notions of an imminent rapture, a sudden gathering of believers prior to the end of the world, reflecting the idea that celestial phenomena, including comets, could signal the approaching fulfillment of these prophecies. Beyond Christianity, comets have been recognized in various religious contexts as symbols of transition and transformation. In Islamic tradition, some scholars viewed meteoric events, such as comets, as manifestations of divine intervention, aligning with the belief that these celestial occurrences could drive away evil forces. Buddhism presents a contrasting perspective, wherein historical events are seen as part of a cyclical process rather than linear eschatology. Nonetheless, the anticipated return of Maitreya Buddha signifies an important transformation in Buddhist eschatological thought, suggesting that the idea of celestial phenomena remains significant even in this context. Culturally, comets have been linked to narratives of disaster and renewal. Ancient myths, such as those found in the Babylonian Epic of Gilgamesh and the Roman Sibylline oracles, depict comets as harbingers of great calamities or significant transformations in the natural order. These themes echo modern apocalyptic literature, where comets are frequently featured as symbols of impending cataclysmic events that herald the end times. Throughout history, comets have often been interpreted as signs or omens, particularly within theological contexts. These celestial phenomena have been associated with divine retribution and prophetic warnings, which in turn can intersect with eschatological beliefs, including concepts related to the rapture. For centuries, comets were viewed with trepidation and were thought to herald significant events, including the deaths of rulers or natural disasters. In the 16th century, figures such as Copernicus and Paracelsus began to challenge the prevailing superstition surrounding comets, positing instead that these bodies might operate under natural laws rather than divine will. However, many theologians continued to hold that comets were divine instruments meant to signify impending calamities or changes, reinforcing the connection between these celestial events and notions of divine judgment. During the early centuries of Christianity, influential figures such as Origen and Bede emphasized the belief that comets portended disasters, pestilence, and warfare, often citing scriptural references to support these views. This idea persisted throughout the Middle Ages and into the Reformation, where comets were seen as manifestations of God's anger, aligning closely with the theological interpretations of divine judgment that underpin eschatological beliefs, including the rapture. Eschatology, the study of end times and final events, incorporates a variety of interpretations concerning the signs that might precede the second coming of Christ. Many Christians interpret cosmic signs, including comets, as potential indicators of these climactic events. In this framework, the appearance of a comet could be viewed as a precursor to significant changes within the world, potentially aligning with beliefs about the rapture, a sudden event where believers are said to be taken up to meet Christ. The intersection of comet sightings and apocalyptic narratives is evident in historical records, such as the mention of notable comets that coincided with crises or upheavals in society, which were often perceived as warnings from God. As believers ponder the implications of such cosmic events, the theological interpretation of comets can enrich discussions about the nature of divine signs in the context of eschatology. In ancient China, comets were imbued with profound cultural and cosmological significance, often viewed as powerful omens that heralded significant events or changes. The unexpected appearances of comets in the sky led to a variety of interpretations, ranging from harbingers of doom to symbols of renewal and transformation. The terminology used by Chinese astronomers included bushy stars for comets with minimal tails, and broom stars for those exhibiting long sweeping tails, which were thought to signify the sweeping away of the old and the assimilation of the new. Such beliefs underscore the pivotal role that comets played in shaping the worldview of ancient civilizations. Let's look at some notable comets. Comet Hale-Bopp it's called C 1995-01. Discovered on July 23, 1995, Hale-Bopp is regarded as one of the most visible comets in human history, with a visibility period of approximately 18 months. It reached its peak brightness in April 1997, captivating amateur astronomers worldwide as it traversed the sky from beyond Jupiter's orbit. Unfortunately, its prominence coincided with a tragic event when members of the Heaven's Gate cult believed that the comet was a sign of an impending rapture, leading to a mass suicide of 39 individuals in 1997. This event highlighted the extreme interpretations that comets can evoke within certain cultural and religious contexts. Comet McNaught C 2006 P1. Comet McNaught, often hailed as the most spectacular comet of the 21st century, graced the skies in early 2007. Its remarkable tail, spanning approximately 35 degrees, made it a breathtaking sight for observers, especially in the southern hemisphere. The comet's brightness peaked at a magnitude of -5.5, making it more luminous than any star of eye at that time. McNaught's visual impact contributed to ongoing discussions about the psychological and cultural effects that comets can have on society, paralleling historical fears and awe associated with such celestial phenomena. Comet Halley 1P Halley. Halley's comet, which reappears approximately every 75 to 76 years, has played a crucial role in the study of comets and their orbits. The comet's return in 1910 sparked widespread panic, as many believed that it would poison the Earth with toxic gases from its tail, leading to the sale of comet pills to protect against its supposed dangers. This incident illustrates the persistent cultural anxieties that comets can evoke, linking them to both superstition and scientific curiosity. Modern comets. Let's look at some cultural interpretations in modern times. Contemporary observations of comets continue to evoke strong reaction. For instance, Comet Atlas C 2019-Y4, which was anticipated to be a bright object, generated discussions about its potential associations with current global events, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. This reflects a modern continuation of the age-old tendency to link celestial events with terrestrial concerns and crises. As science has advanced, the understanding of comets has evolved, yet their capacity to inspire wonder and anxiety remains a powerful element of their cultural impact. And now we have one more coming up. There's no data on it yet. It will be 3i Atlas. Let's see if it's linked to any kind of a disaster or apocalyptic event, and then we can update our observations and our thinking on this matter.